Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics. Thanks for hanging out with me again. Today I am incredibly excited. Man, I went to a cool place. This place is called Tropical Warehouses. They are, if not the biggest, one of the biggest fish wholesalers in the state of Texas. I mean, as you can see, this place is absolutely massive. I'm guessing they probably had somewhere between 700 to 1,000 tanks. They have multiple warehouses that are all in the same area. I'm guessing there had to have been 30,000+ gallons of water in this place. Now, there's not a single tank in here that is less than about 30 gallons. So it's not a whole bunch of 10-gallon tank put together. It is a bunch of bigger tanks. So needless to say, I spent just the entire day at this place looking around. So I'm gonna break this video up into multiple videos, 2 or 3, maybe even 4, I don't know. There's just so much to see. I absolutely did not wanna leave. I could have spent multiple days here. I ended up staying the entire day. When I first planned on going out there, I went during the day and just took the day off from work, and I thought I'd be out there for about half a day, but man, there's just so much to see. And again, you don't want to leave when you see this many fish. I mean, it is just such a cool place. And so again, these guys are just straight wholesalers. So if you see any type of fish that you like in here, you just need to reach out to your local store and tell them, hey man, I'm interested in getting this fish. If you didn't know that, pretty much any fish store has the ability to order other fish. Just because of what you see in their store doesn't mean that's all that they can get. That's just all they choose to bring in, but almost all of them can special order fish. And this would just happen to be one of the similar places that the fish stores in Oklahoma, Louisiana, Texas area, they would order from these guys. These guys actually don't do very much shipping. The majority of stuff they have is actually delivered in trucks. And so this stuff doesn't have to spend the time in the airports and going through all those problems. And one of the really neat things, the manager of the facility, his name's Ian, and he spent a lot of time with me answering a lot of questions. Man, what an absolute just wealth of knowledge. Now, Ian started off working here when he was about 17 years old. Did a lot of different things, and one of the main things he was doing a lot of deliveries into other states, pretty much every single day. But now he's in his 40s, so he's been here a long time and worked his way up into managing this entire place. So he knows a lot. But if you guys are enjoying this video and you would love to see more fish room tours, more fish store tours, and a bunch of cool DIY projects in my amazing fish room, be sure and hit that subscribe button right now. The coolest thing though is this isn't just a job to him. I mean, he absolutely loves fish. When you go into his office, he has all these smaller tanks set up where he's got all these breeding projects and stuff going on and doing different things with plants, and he's just always trying to learn and always trying to do things just a little bit different. And it's just, it's cool to see that when you speak to him that he just has just a complete and utter love for this hobby. And that's one of the reasons he wanted me to come out too, is he really wanted, he enjoyed some of the things that I was doing and loved the way that I was, helping to push the hobby. And that's one of the things that he really wants to do too, is just to see this hobby grow and to see it flourish. Now, a lot of the fish that you see here are, they're brought in a lot of different ways. Some of them are imported from overseas. Some of them are brought in from Florida. That may have been some import grow outs, or they may have been, tank raised or tank bred in Florida. And then he also has a few projects going on in here where he's trying to breed some of the fish himself. But one of the things when talking to him that he tries to do with this facility is he wants to get these fish stabilized in regular tap water. And so when he brings fish in, it doesn't always mean if he's going to bring a fish in, he's going to sell it the next day or the day after that, especially if it's a fish that he gets, it's one that he's never got before, or let's say it's one from a vendor that he's never used before. He may keep it in there for a month or two to see how it does. He wants to make sure that this fish can flourish in local tap water, because he knows it doesn't do any good to bring in a fish that's going to be sold locally that's just going to end up only living a week or two in someone's tanks, because it just never was able to acclimate to the local water source. So I thought that's really cool that it's not all about just the almighty dollar and just turning fish as fast as you can. It's more about getting fish out there that are healthy. And so their tanks are looked at every single day. You might notice as we're going through some of these tanks, they've got a thing on the side where they go through the tanks every single day, and they check for any deaths, and they remove any of the deaths out, and then they mark it on this little sheet here on the side for each and every day. That way at the end of the week they can look and they can see how much loss they had. So if they're getting too many losses, then maybe they need to change to buying from someone different, or maybe they need to try to find out if there's something else going on. But they're just always doing anything they can to try to make sure that they can get you just the absolute healthiest fish possible. And now one of the things too is there's just a absolute huge turnover in fish here. And so just because of what we're seeing here today, if I was to come back next week, there would probably be a whole lot of different fish in here, because you'll notice a lot of the tags and stuff that are on there are not they're replaceable tags. They're just temporary, because they're constantly, again, getting new fish and new types of fish. One thing about this warehouse, this is obviously a working warehouse, because this place is so loud. So you guys probably realize that I'm doing this as a voiceover, because there is absolutely no way to record any sound in this place whatsoever, because there are so many pumps and there are so many air pumps that are going in there also, that it is just loud. I mean, it's got to be just a few steps or a few decibels below of having to wear some type of ear protection, because man, it's crazy how much sound it puts off from some of these big pumps that are pushing this water. So you can see in this warehouse specifically that we're in, each thing is set up into different sections. And so each row is all running on its own independent water system. And so water is constantly being turned over in a very, very high rate between all of the tanks. And then as it comes through, it actually runs through a UV sterilizer that removes any type of bacteria or diseases or anything else that could be in the system. It also gives you the ability, because some of the systems they have are running a little bit of salt in it, and so they'll have specific fish in these specific sections because they're running some percentage of salt in that area. And also, since some of these tanks can be just have a large population of fish in it, not only are they turning this water over a lot, but you'll see in every single tank you've got 2 air stones going in them. So you got this massive air pump at the top of each one of the sections that's also pushing air in there also to make sure that the water stays completely aerated. So they have the ability, just to keep hundreds of thousands of fish going at one time. Now, luckily, when I was there, I got there just a little bit before lunch. So about the time that I started filming, the guys that were pulling orders and stuff were back there having lunch. So I kind of had the entire place to myself, which was nice, because the last thing I wanted to do was to get in these guys' way, because these guys, when I did see them pull them in, they are pulling and packing and shipping fish just extremely fast. And I was just so fortunate to be asked to come down here that I didn't want to cause any type of problem, where someone might complain and he'd not want me to come back again. In fact, Ian was even kind enough to take me out to lunch, and got to talk to him about a lot of different things about the fish industry. So it was just absolutely fascinating to talk to him. So I asked him if he'd be interested in allowing me to come back another time, and because I'd really like to go over their entire system, how their filtration works, how these UV sterilizer works. If you saw back in the back, these massive water reservoirs that they have back there, I don't know how many thousands of gallons those 4 are back in the back, but you know how much water changes are done. And I know you guys are probably curious too, exactly how all of this works in such a massive facility. And one of the things too is just having these open top tanks on all these things. The evaporation on these tanks has to be just astronomical, because the humidity in this place is just absolutely crazy. You guys can see on a lot of these pictures with some of these steel racks and stuff that they have, you can see how some of them are just absolutely rusted to death. In fact, he told me in one of the warehouses that we went into that has saltwater fish in it, they actually run an air conditioning system in there, and I think he says they have to replace the thermostat every couple of months because it just gets so rusted from so much of that humidity that gets released into these places. You know, if you've ever had multiple tanks and you have a top on one tank and you don't have a top on another tank, the amount of evaporation is crazy. I know my wife has a small shrimp tank that's only like 4.5 gallons, but that thing evaporates, it seems like at least a half a gallon to a gallon every couple of weeks. And whereas I may have a 40 gallon that has a pretty tight fitting top on there, and it may only lose half a gallon or so in a week's time. So you can just imagine just the humidity that's in this place. All right, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Again, this is only part 1. I'm gonna put other parts out on another day so you guys can see the rest of what's going on there, and really look forward to come back here again and do some more filming with Ian and getting him to answer some questions and just to share his incredible knowledge with you guys. So if you guys got a comment or you got some type of question you'd like me to pass over to him, be sure and leave that down below. If you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, would love for you to click that subscribe button. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.